Hello and welcome to AnyLogic. Today I want to talk about SQL testing. Unfortunately, AnyLogic doesn't provide any convenient tools to test your SQL statement. You need to run simulation and test SQL in runtime. I want to give you a tip how to make your developer life a little bit easier. On this screen you can see new project I've just created. I add new really small tables with the couple records. My task is to create small SQL testing tool. So go to the simulation screen. First, don't forget to uncheck this box. Let's add some controls. We need edit box where we're going to type our SQL. Make it bigger. Change size to 26 to make it more readable. I'll name it something like SQL box. We need button to execute our statement. I'll just call it exec SQL. Label it something like execute. Okay. What else we need? Something to display result. I just call it SQL return. Now let's add some code. First of all, we want to clean up return label from the previous result. Just set text the empty string. Second, we need to get the result set. We use AnyLogic function select result set. As a parameter, we use SQL box value. Get text function. Next, we need to declare a variable to hold number of fields in result set. I mean number of columns. Let me put 0 as default. I'll explain later why I'm not assigning correct value right away. So real number of columns is stored in result set metadata. Declare metadata variable. Now is fun part. AnyLogic defined own type for result set, but they didn't define own type for the result set metadata. If you just try to run it, you will see the errors which... Oh, I got a typo here. Sorry about that. But anyway, as you see, type wasn't defined by AnyLogic, so we need to reference to the Java type. Okay. Declare temporary string to build the result string. Now we actually want to get column numbers. But we got another nice surprise from AnyLogic. You couldn't actually assign this value here because if you do and try to run it, you got message that you have unhandled exception. So you need to put try and catch block. I'm going to put the for loop statement to go over the field names to build the first line in result string. Because when you got result in this first line, you want to see name of the fields. Common expectation. We are going to add to the string what we got from the metadata. Remind you, this is the field name, not actual values. Anyway, we need somehow visually separate them. Right now, I'm just putting the tab character. You actually could use whatever you want. Close out try block. I'm not going to do anything to handle exception. Just leave it empty. After we select name of the fields, we want to go to the next line. So add new line here. Time to select the data. First, go over the result set. So we are doing the loop. Next, open the loop. For each record, we need to go over the fields in that record. It will be some kind of repeating of this loop, only with selecting data. So I do the get string. I'm just selecting as a string and just separate the values by tab. As you see, I'm using the number of columns outside of the try block. So I need to declare number of columns outside of the try block. That's the reason why declaration of number of columns and assignment are two different lines. After we select all fields, we should go to the next line. Loop closed. In the end, I want to add word end, just to show that we reached the end. No other records. Of course, you could skip this step. I think this is convenient, but you can have another opinion. So we're finished with our strings, and now what we want to take this string and display it on the screen. So taking our label SQL return, set text, and looks like we're done. Grabbing records, pushing name of the fields, after that select values and display it on the screen. That's it, let's run it. Oh, I get another typo. Fix and finally run it. To test it, I write simple select statement. Here we are. Name of the fields on the top and columns of the values. Of course, it's mismatching position because names and values has a different string size. I didn't really pay attention to formatting because once again, this is just for developer testing to give you idea how you could test your SQL. If you care about how data looks, just go to some Java tutorials about the string formatting. Also, you should know when you write select with the star, response always starts from the special AnyLogic fields LID. This is automatic generated field. Don't be surprised if you don't see it here in the table. To see it in the table, you should go preference, then database. You see, it says about the hidden ID columns. So here they actually mention that all tables in AnyLogic has these special fields. So when you do select star, you always get it. Don't be surprised. Let me return to application. Now, if for example you made some mistakes, for example you just do typo, you got error message. You could see here exception description, see lack of privileges object not found. But I usually prefer read it inside the studio. I found that it's more convenient here. But the best part, execution doesn't kill simulation. Application is not crushed, so you could just fix SQL and execute it. Here we are, we got the response. You could actually put any complex SQL here, but right now I simply don't have a lot of data in my database. So I'll just give a couple examples. Select count, simple join, first, last, check in, check out. We don't need this. Table 1, table 2, where table 1 ID, T2 ID. Here we are, we got the records. Now you have a small tool to test your SQL. I'm going to close it. For example, you have another model. I'll just create the model, and you also need SQL testing in that new model. Yes, you could actually type everything again, or you could copy elements one by one, but it will be easier if you go here and just create the group. I'm going to call it SQL group. Next step, add all elements to that group. Now we are ready to copy this group to the new model. Voila, model has the new SQL testing group. Now we are ready to test it. And don't forget about this checkbox. Now you're ready to run it. Keeping everything in one group is the easiest way to copy functionality from one project to another. You use it during development and simply mark ignore when you need to give your final simulation to the customer. Don't delete it, save it for the debugging. That's it for today. Hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comments.